What's up guys, welcome back to the Piston Show. I'm Keshi Dylan and I believe that this is a great time to be a car buyer. In fact, there has never been a better time to be a car buyer simply because of the sheer number of brands in the market, the sheer number of models in the market and the price tags that they carry. Wow! I'm referring to the car behind me, the Jaecoo J8. Now this is the flagship all-wheel drive variant and it is priced at 198,800 ringgit, roughly about 200k. And the amount of appointments and features and such that it has to offer, this is stuff that even premium car makers like Mercedes-Benz and BMW struggle to match. Yes, I'm using the word struggle because if you're not ready to fork out about 4 to 5, maybe 600k for a premium Mercedes-Benz or BMW, you're not going to get the stuff that the J8 has in those cars. Hence why I think that there has never been a better time to be a car buyer. Now, the Jaiku J8 has a lot of premium features that it has to offer. And by the time that I'm done with this video, I think you might be convinced to go out and book one for yourself. So what do I like about it so much? Well, I like how it treats me, for one. Like, every time I walk up to it, for example, right now the key is in my pocket, and I'm walking up to it, and the mirrors unfold, the door handles come out to greet me, there's some nice light play at the front, and it just is ready to greet me and to welcome me inside. It's just short of rolling out a red carpet. And that's what I like about the J8, is just certain touches are very, very nice. I know there are a lot of cars out there that do this as well, but I think it's just in the way that the J8 does it is just very elegant. The way the mirrors fold out very slowly, the door handles fold out very slowly, very, very cool, I think. Anyway, in terms of design, it's a very handsome car as well. If you've seen the Omoda C9, well, the Jaecoo roughly shares a lot of its underpinnings with the C9. But in the entire lineup of Chery, Omoda, Jaecoo and such, Jaecoo is the more premium brand in the entire Chery lineup. In fact, this is basically the flagship brand for Chery. And hence why it's a little bit more, to say it in a very Malaysian way, atas, right? So, starting at the front, you get the usual Jaecoo waterfall grille. That's what they call this, the waterfall grille with these vertical slits and such. And of course, they are flanked by very smaller headlights. The large grille, well, love it or hate it, I kind of like it. It looks very elegant, to my eyes at least. And when you come at the side over here, you get a little bit more trimming over here, a little bit of silver, gloss black, very nice. You get 20-inch wheels, but they're wrapped in Michelin E-Primacy tires. Now, this Michelin E-Primacy tires are basically EV tires. So why would Jaecoo, offer these tires for the J8 when it's neither a plug-in nor an EV? Well, I think that it has got something to do with the strength of the tires, because EV tires are usually stronger than regular tires for your petrol-powered car. Why? Because EVs are generally heavier, and the J8 is not a light car. So the fact that it comes with EV tires, I suspect has got something to do with the overall weight of the car. Anyway, these are not cheap tires, so the fact that they come with it is quite nice as well. And anyway, further here, you get this gloss black roof. Now this is known as a gloss black D pillar, D. And let me just run you through this. This is basically your A pillar, this is your B pillar, your C pillar, and this entire thing is known as the D pillar. So you basically get a gloss black D pillar. Or you can simply say a gloss black roof lah, simplify stuff, right? Why overcomplicate it, just like what I just did. Anyway, Further back here, from here you can see that it is a massive, massive car. It's a very big car, and look, it's a huge car to say the least. And the flagship variant is basically a 6-seater. I'll show you why later. And again, very elegant at the back as well, even though it looks like it has quad exhaust. It actually doesn't, it only has dual exhaust. And let me just open this for you. Get a massive boot space. And as I was saying, it's a 6-seater. Or if you fold the rest seats in place, it's a strict 4-seater. But if you need space for your kids, all you gotta do is do this, and suddenly you have more space for your passengers. Now the alternative to this would be the Jaecoo J8 two-wheel drive variant, which is roughly about 20,000 ringgit cheaper than this. But that is a 5-seater. So rather than captain's chairs, as you're seeing over there, you get a bench seat. So it depends on what you need, but I think that the all-wheel drive variant is just so nice. Now I'll explain why shortly. Anyway, let's just take a minute to appreciate how elegant the car looks even from the back. So powering the Jaiku J8 is a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, and this is basically the same engine that powers the two-wheel drive variant as well as this, the all-wheel drive variant. I know there's not much to see over here because everything is neatly hidden away from your eyes underneath this plastic panel. So let's just leave it like that. And it produces 249 PS and 385 Newton meters of torque. Both cars, the two-wheel drive and all-wheel drive, have the same power output. But because the two-wheel drive is lighter and it only has 2 wheels that are turning at any given time, it does the century sprint in 8.8 seconds. However, the all-wheel drive variant takes a little bit longer to reach 100 kilometers per hour. Just a very little bit longer. So the two-wheel drive does it in 8.8. This does it in 9 seconds flat. Both variants share the same 200 km per hour top speed. The all-wheel drive variant obviously will be heavier, and thus fuel consumption is slightly higher as well. But that is a normal trait of an all-wheel drive powertrain. However, the trade-off over here is that you sacrifice a little bit of fuel, but what you get is ultimately better traction. So it doesn't matter whether it's raining, you get the typical monsoon thunderstorm that we get here in Malaysia, but you are always in control with the all-wheel drive layout. I know there's a lot of people say that all-wheel drive, you don't really need all-wheel drive, you know, cars come with a lot of electronic safety nets and such. But I say that the all-wheel drive powertrain is always a little bit more helpful in slippery conditions as compared to a two-wheel drive, particularly a front-wheel drive layout. So for me, I think that the all-wheel drive layout is worth it. Now though, we go check out the inside because the magic for the Jaiku J8 is inside the car. So, this is what I mean. Let me just start this up for you, mute the volume and such, and straighten the steering wheel. OCD that way. Anyway, the interior of the Jaiku J8. If you've been inside the Omoda C9, the general, there are some differences, but the general sitting position, the position of the steering wheel and such is roughly about the same. And but the all-wheel drive car has certain key features that distinguishes it, such as the fact that the leather on the seats and around the cabin are real leather, where else on the two-wheel drive you get faux leather, which basically means that it's not really leather lah, but in here that it's real leather lah. So spend 20k more and you get nicer stuff. I think worth it. And let's just take it piece by piece. This is microfiber suede. It's just so nice to touch. This roof liner is just so nice. It just feels like it belongs on a 7 Series or on an S-Class or something. It's just so nice. It just adds such a premium touch to it. And that's why I also think that it's worth spending the 20K more to get all this nice stuff. And on top of that, you get this curved screen that is split into two, one for your infotainment screen over here and one for your instrument cluster. So in this Jaiku J8, you're going to see a lot of Mercedes-Benz inspiration all around the cabin. I think I've touched on this a lot, and I'm not really going to delve that much into it, but we can obviously see a lot of Mercedes inspiration in Chery products, such as the air conditioning vents, the way the seat controls are laid out over here, and then the window buttons and such. And you get a lot of Mercedes inspiration. Even the volume, rotating volume dial over here is very Mercedes-Benz like. And even the way this thing opens. Anyway, I'm done talking about Mercedes. So this, you get a soft touch panel over here. This is, once you touch it, it's soft, but the way that it's finished, it's just nice to touch. You get wood trimming all around over here that stretches over here to the side of the door, the edges of the door as well. You get some rose gold trimming over here. Now, I think this is not too bad. I think what we used to get in the, for example, the GWM Haval 86, that was just too much rose gold. But this is very elegant, very understated. And it's just a little bit, just a very small trim, where else the one in the Haval 86 was too much rose gold. Anyway, they're not even in the same league. They're not even in the same segment. So I'm not really going to touch too much on the Haval 86. There's no comparison. That is a C segment car. This is a D segment car, hence why it's bigger. Anyway, let's talk over here. You obviously get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And this is very important. I'm not sure about you guys, but I basically cannot live without Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Why? Because everything from Google Maps, YouTube Music, SoundCloud, Waze, these are all my favorite apps, podcasts, music, all of this for me is a necessity. Anyway, press on here, you exit, and these are basically your controls for the car. So this is the central control, hence why the term infotainment screen. I'm sure you knew that already. So this is where you control your Bluetooth, your sound, your voice, your displays over here. So watch this. Now watch the instrument cluster over here. So I can change it from this to this. So this is basically a more, I want to use the word subdued, but then at the same time, it's not really subdued. It's just a lot of information. But you get my point. You can basically change the readout, and you can change it to night mode as well. And now this is absolutely gone too dark, or but I have a little bit of a bone to pick with this readout over here, because this is the fuel gauge and you can barely see it, right? This blue and this gray or silver background doesn't really do well. So maybe if this was in black, for example, that would have been better. But in night mode, not in streamline mode, it's down here. So this is slightly better readout. But anyway, it's just too fussy. There's just a lot of information that you need to know. And sometimes when you're trying to see, like when you're driving and you're trying to pick out certain details, that might take some time. This is just a familiarization process. So the learning curve for this might take some time, maybe a week or so. And that's when you'll start to remember where all the icons are laid out. Anyway, back to this. And what I want to show you is vehicle settings. Okay, so this is where you can adjust the steering force mode. You can have it in either sport or comfort, I think. But if you leave it in auto, it links to the drive mode, which I'll touch on shortly. Seat and easy entry exit. I have it turned on, but some people like it turned off. Now this is where the seat will move back every time you exit the car to make it easier to get in and out. Opening height setting for tailgate, you can either open it 100% or 95% or 50%. And this is great in case you're not very tall and you can't reach the close button at the edge of the tailgate, so that's important. And then you can basically control a lot of things about the car from here. And what I like is this suspension linked to driving mode. So now the suspension mode, you can either have it in normal, mid, or sport, right? So, but this is if you turn it off. But if you turn it on, the suspension will adjust accordingly to the drive mode that you selected. So to select the drive mode, you rotate this dial over here. Okay, and
sport mode.
Now it has adjusted. It has shifted to sport mode. So this is where the suspension gets a little bit stiffer. You feel it. It's not trashy. It's not overly stiff like in a hot hatch and such, but you feel more in control of the car because the Jaiku J8 all-wheel drive comes with adaptive suspension, continuous damping control. That's what Jaecoo calls it. So this adjusts itself as quickly as 0.002 seconds. So every 0.002 seconds, it's adjusting itself according to the road conditions. It happens quicker than you can imagine. And it ultimately gives you either a very comfortable ride or it gives you a very controlled ride. So in that sense, I think I left it mostly in normal
mode
or in eco. Normal is nice and comfortable. It's not too soft. Like there are a lot of very clever adaptive suspensions in the market, such as the D-Sus-C, which is a BYD term for adaptive suspension. Now, D-Sus-C, as I've experienced with the Denza D9, is just too soft. Now, when it's too soft, it gives you a bobblehead effect, right? And that just ultimately makes you feel very nauseous. But not here. Even when it's in normal mode, you feel very comfortable. And that's what I appreciate about the adaptive suspension system in the Jaiku J8 all-wheel drive. Now, talking about
sport mode,
drive modes,
eco mode.
You basically get eco, normal, sport,
mode,
snow,
mode, snow mode,
mud,
mode,
sand
mode,
off-road
mode.
And
mode,
if you can't already tell,
mode,
it will remind you what mode you are in as well. So there's no way that you're not going to know what mode that you're in. Anyway, the Jaiku J8 is a very clever car. It's very comfortable, it's very clever, and it gives you all of these controllable aspects of the car too. When you feel like having some fun or you want to drive quicker or more aggressively, you can choose the mode. The suspension will get stiffer to give you better control, and the steering wheel will get heavier, and the accelerator pedal will respond quicker as well. Keep in mind that this is a car that costs 198,800 ringgit. Brilliant, isn't it? I think so too. What I do wish that it had was a place for my sunglasses. There's no place for my sunglasses. So a bit of a pity. Anyway, you get a 50-watt charge pad over here, and the charge pad is only over here, so you can also use this part over here to just keep your phone. And if you don't like using charge pads, you get USB ports at the side over here, Type A and Type C. And the reason why they're hidden out of my sight, I genuinely cannot see them from here. So I have to do this, and yeah, it's Type C and Type A. Now the reason why they're located over there is simply because the Jaiku J8 started its life as a left-hand drive car. So rather than re-engineering everything, they just left the USB ports over there. Okay, I'll give you that. Now, there are a couple of things about this car that I just wish were better. And one of the things is the sitting position. Now, this is not bad. The seats are comfortable. Oh, by the way, the seats, they feel like sport seats. So this side at the side over here as well as the side over here. I can't remember what they call this, but they're quite firm. So if you're a big dude, then that you might feel that against the sides of your body. But these are great as well because if you want to start driving more aggressively, they hold you in place very nicely. And guess what? If you want to just chill and take it easy, they also have massage function, yo. Anyway, the sitting position, right? So it's just, the seat is comfortable, the steering wheel is okay, but it's this panel, it's this center column over here that is just way too high. And the problem, it's not really a problem, but the irritating thing is when you're driving, you got your foot on the accelerator, you're just resting your left foot, and suddenly you have to take a corner or you have to U-turn, you have your knee over here, and watch this. There's your knee, your hand will brush up against your knee. So if you have your knee over here, see, right? So that's to solve this is to, of course, just stretch your leg lah. But this, if the center column was a little bit lower, I think that will fix the problem. Or if you're shorter, you're not going to face this problem also lah. So if you're, vertically challenged, then this will be all right. This, you will not face this problem. But by having the center column placed so high, this has allowed the designers to free up a lot of storage space at the bottom over here. So this is good enough to keep your handbag, your purse, or all your stuff and such at the bottom over here. So it's a catch-22 situation that they give you this and you get that. But if they lower this, you don't get that. So, and there's no such thing as too many storage spots. So perhaps that is a good thing. Anyway, back to the seats, electronically adjustable for the front. They're ventilated. They have, excuse me, they have massage function. Excuse me. But before we go to the back, I just would like to point out that this is how you open the door. It's an electronic door latch. So you press this and the door unlocks. But what happens if the car runs out of battery or there's a system failure? Because this works electronically, right? So sometimes stuff hits the fan. So Jaecoo thought of that and they added a mechanical latch over here. This is very clever. I like this. And more people, I think, need to be aware of mechanical latches because a lot of car doors these days have electronic latches. A lot, particularly the EVs. And all of them have mechanical door latches, but more often than not, they're hidden out of sight. So I think it is important for car makers as well as sales advisors to actually show you where mechanical door latches are. So always be aware of where your mechanical door latch is, because in the unfortunate event of an accident and your electronic systems fail in the car, the only thing that will allow you to exit the car is the mechanical door latch. So always find out where the mechanical door latch is. So the back seats, guys, this is such a nice place to be. For a car that costs 198,800 ringgit, this is so nice. And as I said earlier, with the all-wheel drive variant, you get these captain seats. Obviously very nice, very comfortable captain seats, wrapped in real leather. With the two-wheel drive, you get a bench, which is fine because sometimes you do need a bench. If you have a lot of kids, you got 3 kids and such, this is not going to work for you. But if you've got 2 kids and you don't have to worry about anybody else, then this might just be the option for you, and it's such a nice option. Anyway, you get armrest, you get your own air conditioning controls, and what I like about this is you get aircon vents over here, and you also get aircon vents over here on the pillar mounted air conditioning vents. This is so nice because while this might just blow cool air from the bottom over here, this blows cool air to your face, and that is something that I truly appreciate. Anyway, more at the side over here, you get this wood trimming, a little bit, just a touch of rose gold. The the seat is electronically controlled, guys. Electronic controlled, and there's a fly in here, but this is just so cool. This also makes the car a very nice car to be driven in as well. So if you're looking for a 200k, circa 200k car to be driven in, the Jaecoo J8 all-wheel drive is a real contender, because they come with Boss seats. You just push this seat, Boss switches, not seats. Push this to the front, and then this. Check out the amount of legroom I have now. This is so cool. I had a friend of mine drive me the other day, and it's just such a comfortable place to be. You can do your work. I was on my laptop. I was just getting stuff done. And it's brilliant to be driven in as a day-to-day car. So even if you just stretch out, like I'm about 6 feet tall, and this is perfect. Stunning, isn't it, for a car that costs 200k? Now the other thing is, this speaker over here, now this lights up everything every time there's an obstacle coming from the back of the car. So if there's a pedestrian or a bicyclist, cyclist or a motorcyclist that is coming from the back of the car, this thing will light up to tell you not to exit the car. How cool is that? Very clever. It's called door opening warning. And these are things that, little things that make such a world of difference. Now, the other thing that I appreciate about the car is the refinement and suspension that the Jaecoo J8 has, particularly the all-wheel drive. I'll talk about that now. Let's go take it for a drive. But just before we hit the road, guys, I forgot to mention that the captain seats at the back seats, they come with massage function. They're ventilated as well, and they come with massage function. And you turn that on through this button over here. And it's the same for the front as well. There's a button at the side over here, and that's how you turn on and off the massage function for the back. How cool is that? But just before we hit the road, guys, there's one thing I want to show you, and this is just so funny. This is the key. Check out how big it is. It's huge, right? And it comes with all these things and these funny looking things and such. And it's also very heavy. So it's not only big, it's heavy. And that, I think, just makes this not only a key, but a self-defense mechanism. So if somebody comes and tries to threaten you and such, there's a lot of road rage going on nowadays, right? So you can knock the fella's head with this. It's huge. Let's go try. So how does the Jaecoo J8 feel like to drive? Guys, I just gotta say this, that when it comes to refinement and comfort, the J8 just does a brilliant job. I mean, it feels so well insulated from the world outside that you feel very cocooned, very nestled in here, and that you feel like there's nothing that can, disrupt your thoughts or disturb you in any way. You feel very safe. You feel like in a very big tank. Now, the thing about the J8 is that it is a big car, and it does not make any attempt to hide that fact. It's just like, I am big, get used to it. And when you first sit in the driver's seat, you notice two very big bulges at the front of the car. And that's not a bad thing, because at first it may seem intimidating, but I think after driving this car for a few days, I think they're there for a reason, because it just makes it very easy to gauge the width of the car. So the one bulge is on the right hand side and another bulge is on the left hand side. So it's there, and it makes it very easy to gauge the width of the car. So you always know when a motorcyclist is nearby. You can always tell, when you're coming out of a tight parking spot. It's just very easy to navigate. I parked this car at lot 10 yesterday. And Lot 10 is one of the, one of the oldest shopping malls and such. And the thing about old shopping malls is that their parking lots tend to be very small. And it was easy to navigate this big, bulky car, even in such a tight parking area. Of course, this was helped as well by the many parking sensors that the car has, proximity sensors that the car has. And on top of that, you get a very super clear 540-degree camera. Now, this also just shows you the wheels of the car. It does not, of course, I'm talking about augmented reality, augmented wheels, because not really the real wheels lah. So, sometimes with 540 or 360-degree camera, it shows you the car, but this shows you the wheels. And when my wife drove that, she thought it was odd. She's like, "Where's the car?" I'm like, "That's the car. The wheels represent the car." And because it's 540 degrees, you can also sort of tell what's happening underneath the car. She was blown away. And that just means that it's just very easy to navigate this car. It's big, it's bulky, and it doesn't make any apologies for that. But it comes with systems in place designed to make it easier to live with this car. So don't get intimidated when you first get into this car, because undoubtedly it's a huge car, but you'll get used to it. Ultimately, it is a big, friendly giant of a car. Now, other than that, it is the sitting position. I've already told you, it is this giant column over there, and that just makes it, it just pushes your knee aside, but depending on your height, that's just something that you can get used to. Now, in terms of power, when you put your foot down, you hear the engine, you hear the turbo spooling, and even though the spec sheets say 9 seconds, but this thing can pull its weight, man. It can go. It's not explosive in nature, it's just very elegant. There's just a lot of torque for you to rely on. And that just makes it a very nice car to drive on the highway and such, 140, 150, not like you should, but you can, and you can do it very comfortably. Refinement, as I've said earlier, is top-notch. You get double glazed windows at the side, and this just absorbs all the noise and such from the outside world. So ultimately what you get is a very quiet interior, and that just adds to the premiumness of the Jaecoo J8. So all in all, I think it's just a really nice car to drive, really nice car to live with. And how does it handle, you might think? Because Chinese cars, the thing about Chinese cars, not Jaecoo, not just Jaecoo, not just Cherry, I'm talking about Chinese cars in general. How do they feel in terms of handling? Because Chinese cars, well, this is one department that they have not yet totally nailed it. But the Jaecoo J8, I gotta say that because you don't expect it to be nimble, you don't expect it to have a chatty steering wheel, because luxury premium SUVs rarely have that feel. And it just feels good. It just feels like, for example, you don't expect a Range Rover to have a chatty steering wheel. And the same for the Jaecoo. It just feels nice. It just lumbers along. It just minds its own business. It's like, yeah, I'm big, I'm beautiful, I give you premium features, I nestle you in luxury, and I keep you isolated from the horrors of the world outside. And for that reason, I think the Jaecoo J8 deserves mega, mega praise. I really like it. I really like the way it drives and the way it handles. In terms of entertainment, in terms of, sometimes when you are tired and if you just have one SUV, one car at home that you need to take your family out with, that you need to drive to the office with, and all that jazz, right? one thing that is important for me is a good sound system. Because sometimes you want to just, I do two things. Three. Either I shut everything off and it's just me and my mind. And sometimes I just like to sit in, bask in quiet ambience. And the Jaiku J8 allows me to. See all these motorcycles that you see passing by me? There's a huge diesel truck next to me and I don't hear anything. And then the other thing is, I listen to music. So I'm a big rock fan. I'm a big, EDM fan as well at the same time and such. So for me, a good sound system is really, really good. And that's what you get with the Jaiku J8 as well. You get a really good sound system with the 14 speaker Sony sound system with the all-wheel drive variant, because there are two in the headrests. There are 12 everywhere else and two in the headrest. You only get 12 with the two-wheel drive version, by the way. And the third thing that I like to do is listen to podcasts. And I can do that because I have wireless Apple CarPlay as well as Android Auto. I use an iPhone, so I'm more inclined to CarPlay. And that is just very important for me because I also rely a lot on Google Maps and Waze. And I'm sure almost all Malaysians do, especially us KLites. So that is, I get everything. I just get all my boxes checked. I can't imagine what else I could want. Again, it's giving me everything. So in that sense, I think from behind the wheel, I really got no complaints about the Jaiku J8. So that's why, guys, I think that the Jaiku J8 all-wheel drive is just such a value for money proposition. And it really does put to shame the heritage premium car makers that we have come so accustomed to. Because if a newcomer like Jaecoo can offer this much for so little, then why can't the rest? So anyway, the Jaiku J8 all-wheel drive, so many premium appointments, so nice to drive, a really good comfortable suspension that keeps you in control if you want to, just by rotating the drive mode selector, and yet at the same time can keep the passengers comfortable, particularly in the captain's chairs and such. What more could you want in a car? Let me know what you think about the Jaiku J8 all-wheel drive in the comment section below. Thank you for watching.